What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video I'm going to give you guys all the info you guys need for this brand new New Year's deck of Fate, as well as a breakdown on the prize champion Gwyndolin, the owl, and we'll break down what is actually needed for this event and whether we should actually go for it. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, so here's Gwyndolin the Silent. Quick breakdown of her kit, just in case you guys are not familiar. She's a skinwalker, she's an attack-based champion. She got a triple hit on her A1, extending duration of debuffs, kind of like a vizier. You know, not super insane, but not super bad either. It's going to be decent in like most boss settings. A2, super good move here, 3-turn cooldown, fully booked. Single book for 20% damage, that's really nice. We don't see that very often, so Plarium giving us a little break here on the damage percentage per book. It's an AoE, 100% chance to place the big decrease speed, awesome, and place leech as well for 2 turns. So this is a great Hydra move, for example. It's not that great in arena because there's a bunch of debuffs. Obviously it's going to get her sheeped and all that stuff. It also places a decreased accuracy on enemies when they're under 2 or more debuffs. So if you land the first 2, then you can land decreased accuracy for 3 full debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. That's really, really nice. All right. So A3, same situation here, 1 book, 20%, it's nice. Down to 3-turn cooldown on her A3 as well. Another AoE, very nice. Before attacking goes increased accuracy on the full team. And then she has a 75% chance of stealing all block debuffs from your enemies. And if one block debuff is stolen, then places block debuffs on your whole team. So this is pretty conditional, this block debuff, placing block debuff is pretty conditional. I wouldn't, you know, give it too much value in this move. So her move basically reads to me, AoE places 50% increased accuracy on your whole team, which is solid, but not anything too crazy. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, which makes it still quite solid. Passive, this champion's crit damage increases 1% for every 10 points of accuracy they have. Gives an extra turn after this champion uses any 3 skills. It's kind of interesting. It's an interesting passive. Because, so crit damage wise, if you give her 400 crit damage, she's going to get, 400 accuracy, she's going to get an extra 400 crit damage, which is, you know, pretty nice, right? Like Flawless Execution is a tier 6 mastery, it gives you only 20% crit damage. So her passive is actually worth a decent amount of damage, right? And then this extra turn mechanic, whenever she uses 3 moves, she has relatively short cooldowns on her A2 and A3. So she probably gets an extra turn pretty frequently, so obviously speed's going to be important for her. Cheating sets, turn cheating sets like Relentless would be also very good. So base stats, 1520 base attack, decent, solid, nothing too insane or groundbreaking there. 102 speeds, quite decent. 1002 defense makes her a bit on the tankier side for a attack based nuker. Of course, she got the big crit damage here and a little 10 accuracy or a little bit of extra accuracy for you. So at the top of this video, we don't have too much test footage. There hasn't been too much test footage on her, and no one has really done any serious testing on her. But I did find one video from a Russian YouTube content creator that has some info on her damage and build. So we can take a quick look at that. So here's the Russian YouTube creator. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but you guys can check out the video at this guy's channel. But this is the basically the meat that I pulled out from the video. He did do a damage test with lethal gear. It was, you know, like 5.5k attack with like 290 crit damage with lethal gear, and it wasn't doing like insane damage or anything. But the more important one showcase that he was doing was the Hydra showcase. So this is the team he was using for Hydra. You guys can be the judge of whether it's a good team or not so good team. So he was using Uko, Mithrala, Owl, Molly, Shamail, and Sisia. The total stats on his build was 3.7k attack, 244 speed, 281 crit damage, 463 accuracy. This is in Relentless with Helm Smasher. So it's actually quite interesting to see this kind of build. I mean, with the refresh too. I don't think refresh is super necessary for her. But Relentless is interesting set because I think he's trying to capitalize on the passive, trying to get extra turns, so you get extra turns from his passive. which probably will work decent. I think overall stats on this champion, on this build, not too bad. 3.7k attack is pretty low, but also War Master probably wouldn't be my choice here. It might actually be Helm Smasher, which is better. But we'll go into the results here. So this is the results. He did a 1,000 turn run with this team. It's on Brutal, and he pulled 94 million damage. 22 million came from the Owl, 33 million came from Sissia. So I don't know, I don't have Sissia myself. I don't know too much about Sissia and how she performs in Hydra relative to like some of the other champions. But I don't know if 22 million from the Owl is a lot. It seems like it's not a lot compared to Sissia. However, you can argue that this team only doing 94 million over roughly 1,000 turns in Brutal is not really doing super good as a whole. So it doesn't really do it, in like reasonable justice, I think, because the champion is not in probably the best team that she could be in to perform in a way that really showcases her actual strength. At the time of this video, we don't know the multipliers on her, so I can't really comment any further, but this kind of gives you an idea of whether this champion is actually worth all the trouble and effort in this Deck of Fate event. So let's jump into the Deck of Fate breakdown. All right, so like I said, new Deck of Fate, it's 4-day event. There's a million things going on. I got all the info for you guys, so make sure you guys stay tuned for all that. So here's the Deck of Fate. It's, you guys know this system already. It's a bunch of cards. You flip them, 40 cards. There's going to be the objectives here are pulling shards or dungeon diving. So it's not going to be, obviously usually one is more efficient than the other. In this case, it's going to be pulling shards. Okay, so here's the full info that you guys need for this event and the upcoming 4-day schedule. So like I said, there's a lot of things going on. I had to kind of conglomerate everything together so that we actually can see what is happening. So today's day 1, okay guys? So today's day 1. So day 1, we have boosted summon rates on primal shards. So you see here 29th. Primal shards are boosted. And then also at the same time, there's also ancient and void 15 progressive chance as well. There's also so tomorrow there's going to be a different 15x progressive, and then the next day, and then next day. However, the primal is only going to be 1 day. The primal boost is only going to be 1 day. And then on top of that, there's going to be a 2x sacred event on the 31st, which is 2 days from now. On top of that, there's going to be multiple dungeon boosted events as well. So the important thing here is you have to make sure you go for the correct champions that you want from your shards, of course. So Theodore is today, Calvalax, Venom Mage is also the one that's going to shine. Herndig, Trunda, Acrizia is tomorrow. So those ones, I think this one's the best one. So the long and short of it, tomorrow's the day you want to pull shards. On Sunday, Candrafon, Hethrak, Leorius, good nukers if you don't have them. If you get them, you're gonna be happy if you get them. But if you have them, you don't really care for another one, so it might not be the best for you. And then the day after is going to be Korugar Deathbell. I think he's a pretty good ally protection champion. Trurov, good healer. Bellatar, Mage Slayer. I have no idea what that one does, but to me, it's a standout. Tomorrow's going to be the day you want to pull shards. However, you want to pull your primal shards today. So it's going to be multiple days of pulling shards. So today you want to pull your primal shards. Tomorrow you want to pull all your other shards. And then if you're pulling sacred shards, you're going to wait until the 31st for 2x chances. However, keep in mind that none of these are boosted by sacred shards. So it's a little bit confusing, but there you go. So I made a quick little breakdown here on the values of this event. So you can see here, obviously the most value is going to be pulling sacred shards. So is the owl worth 20 sacred shards? Because that's the total cost of the event. It costs 40,000 points. Of course, you can get lucky and all that stuff and maybe pull, all the fragments with, I don't know the exact amount, but like half the amount. But most people are probably going to be pulling 40,000 points worth of cards. So the whole deck. So it's most efficient with sacred. So it costs you 20 sacreds. Is she worth 20 sacreds? Maybe. I don't know. I think she's actually very good. I'm not convinced that her multipliers are going to be that bad, especially from the only one test case showcase that we have available. So if there's more test footage, that might change my mind, for example. But right now, I do feel quite strongly about going for this champion. But I'll explain the total cost to you guys. It's actually quite daunting. But yeah, let's go over it here. So assuming you have, I made this for myself. So assuming you have like 1,000 mysteries, 100 ancients, 100 voids. So that's enough. So let's say you have 50 voids. 50 voids not enough. So let's say you have 75 voids. So you see the total here, you want 40,000, right? The 1,000 mysteries, 100 ancients, 75 voids. The thing with this event is that the value for primal shards, I think, is actually very good. You get the 2x boosted for mythical, legendary, and epics. So you have a 2x event, 2x chance, I believe, on mythical, legendary, and epics. So the chances are boosted. Yes, I can confirm they are boosted here. 32, 2, and 1. This is an excellent event for primal shards. I mean, and they're worth 800 points. So, you know, they're good value. Is a good time to pull. So let's say, for example, you have 10 primal shards. Currently, I have 10 primal shards. So 10 primal shards, let's say, you know, you can cut some of those voids out. So I cut some of those voids. So right now it's looking like you get the owl plus a bunch of goodies. So all these goodies you're going to get, right? Excluding any of the triple hit with the cards and stuff. That's going to be like a pretty, you know, those are pretty long shots. The triple hit books, you probably get like, you know, multi-battles and silver or some garbage like that from getting triple hit common cards. But it's pretty hard to hit triple hit rare. Like epic is impossible, rare is also very difficult. So you're basically going to get these goodies shown here. Okay, so is these goodies plus the owl worth 10 primals, 50 voids, 100 ancients? Is it worth it? It could be. I mean, the owl's actually a decent champion. Is he as good as like Mishinaki, which was 20 sacreds back in the day? Obviously Mishinaki's insane, but I could see this owl being quite good in a lot of teams. She brings the decreased speed, which is actually not that easy to get. And you also don't want decreased speed on just a champion that just doesn't do any damage and then just brings decreased speed. So if you have decreased speed on a damage dealing champion, she doesn't need to be like insane levels of damage. She's already better than like just a random support with decreased speed. For example, like Mother Cybele. She kind of just brings decreased speed. She brings a speed aura. But she doesn't really bring like super damage. If this owl does more damage than her, then the owl's already outpacing Mother Cybele, who's like known for decreased speed. Of course, she has an A1 decreased speed. It's not a direct comparison, but you get the idea. So let's say you had a couple sacreds, you survived the shard apocalypse from the last couple days, and let's say you had 10 sacreds hanging around, right? So if you had 10 sacreds, you're looking pretty good, right? So I'm just playing around with the numbers here. So 10 sacreds, 10 primals, 30 voids. I think that's a pretty good deal for a extra legendary champion. So obviously, if you have sacred shards, the value for them is quite good. But of course, we're going to be hard pressed to have any sacred shards at this point. All right, so moving on. So if you want to do this via dungeons, so these are the numbers here for your dungeon grinding. It's going to be approximately 2,600 runs. That's about 50,000 energy. It's going to cost you about 400 refills and about 16,000 gems. So is this legendary worth 16,000 gems? That's a lot of dungeon grinding. I don't think you even have time to do all that dungeon grinding. So that's going to be the first issue. You're going to be pulling shards for this event and then supplementing any random points with random dungeon grinding that you'll be doing. You won't be doing this directly with dungeon grinding. It's just very inefficient. So what about if you have tons of gems and then you just want to buy your shards? So if you want to buy your shards, you need approximately, if you want to buy your shards, you can take that 16,000 gems that you would have spent on dungeon runs. You can spend them on buying ancient shards. You get 195 ancient shards. That is not enough to cover the approximately 300 ancient shards that you need for this champion. So definitely do not buy gems. Do not spend gems to buy blue shards because you would rather spend it on energy to try to get this champion. Of course, like I said, you might be constrained by time. You won't have time to do all these runs. So the higher the value shard you have, the better the value it is getting the owl. All right, so keep that in mind when you guys are pulling. So personally, here's my shard stash right now. I basically nuked all my sacred shards the last couple of days because I got super unlucky during the 1+1 event, and it cost me 21 sacreds to get my 1+1 after already being 9 shards in to Mercy. So anyways, this is what I have remaining. I have 10 primals, so I'm gonna pop, like, I want to pull my primals anyways because they're such good value right now. Is whether I commit all the way to get the owl, that is to be seen. So for me, like, I can spend gems, I can buy ancient shards, I can top up with ancient shards. I don't want to spend my void shards, like desperately don't want to do it. I'm not particularly close to Mercy. I'm about 50 towards it, so I'm not gonna hit Mercy with the void shards I have currently. But I'm not opposed to pulling some. Like, I can pull like 50. So I'm thinking pull my 10 primals, pull some void shards, and then finish it up with the dungeon grinding, which I'll be doing anyway, but it won't be for an insane amount of energy. And then with my ancient shard stash that I have. All right, so what does that look like for myself? So I have 55 ancients. I put it in there. It's worth about 7,000 points. I have 10 primals. I'm going to pop those, worth 8,000 points. I calculated 4 days worth of events and free energy. It's about 3,600 free energy, basically from the pots plus regeneration. That works out to about 2,700 points only. So it's like, you know, 5, 6, 7%. Sorry, 7%. 7% of your total need, which is 40,000. So, you know, how many shards am I saving from doing all that dungeon grinding? I'm saving about 8 void shards. So in total, I'm going to need, let's see here, like hoping, yeah, it's going to be more than 50. Let's say 55, about 60. So about 60,000, about 60 void shards. So this is kind of like my breakdown here. 60 voids, 55 ancients, 10 primals. If I want to conserve my gems. If I don't want to conserve my gems, I can spend my gems to get ancients. However, I'd rather spend my I'd probably rather spend my gems on energy because it's much more efficient. But you know, you never know what's gonna happen with time and stuff, especially after, like, just before New Year's and all that stuff. So you might not have time to do everything. But you know, to me, it doesn't seem so bad if I have to pull 60 voids. For example, it doesn't seem so bad for a legendary champion. Alright guys, so that's going to be my breakdown of the Deck of Fate event, plus the breakdown of Gwyndolin the Silent. I think she brings a unique kit. The speed, leech, decreased accuracy are all very good debuffs against the boss. She brings additional damage. She doesn't need to be like top tier damage, but we kind of see how strong a champion like Razovar is, bringing the buffs, increased accuracy, increased speed, and leech, as well as speed aura as well, and he brings some damage as well. Not insane damage, but he brings lots of damage because he does a lot of turns and speed and stuff. But Gwyndolin, she's kind of like the debuff version instead of the buff version of Razovar, kind of. She's set up to do a bit more damage. I'm not convinced by the showcase that I found that she is terrible. So unless we see a bit more footage on what she can actually do in game, then maybe my opinion will be skewed. But personally, I think I'm going to try to go for her if I can do it. But right now, the cost doesn't look too bad if I have to only spend about 60 void shards. So anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. What you guys are going to do. Is she really that bad? Personally, I think, like I said, I think she's actually quite serviceable. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a great New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, if I don't catch you guys. And otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.